Hello, everyone. I'm Zelda Kelly. Welcome to Seeing Crime, and this is episode 25. I want to thank you for being here. If you'll please do me a favor and subscribe and hit the like button, that certainly helps me before we get started. I want to talk to you tonight, and I'm recording this on July 31st of 2024, about Jennifer McCabe and the 6:07 a.m. events. Now, I talked a little bit about that before, but what I want to do for you tonight is more or less what I would do if I were talking to law enforcement. Now, I am not law enforcement. My disclaimer is this is my opinion only. I'm not law enforcement. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not giving you legal advice, medical advice, any advice except that what I get from the cards. And that usually takes us into a realm where it either confirms or denies, or it might even be a little bit of both. But I want to do this for you tonight as though I'm reading for law enforcement. So I think you're going to really enjoy this reading. But before we get started, I want to introduce you to some cards. First and foremost is Jennifer McCabe. She's the star card, and she's an Aquarius. This is for John O'Keefe. He is the Temperance card, and he is a Sagittarius. Karen Reed is the Moon card, and she is a Pisces. And Brian Albert is the Hermit, and he is a Virgo. So if you see any one of these four cards come up, not only will we take their meanings, but we will see where they are in the mix so we can see if there's a confirmation or if they're trying to give us a message or whatever happens. And yes, those people who are still on earth, can energy give us a message? So let's get started. Now, introducing you also to the cards we're using tonight. This is my beautiful deck of cards that I've used for, oh my goodness, you can see they are old. And I just want you to know that when they get more than 10 years old, I start making notes on the cards. You're going to see that. And the reason I do that is because it helps them to retain that energy. Because the older cards get, yes, they get wonderful and they really give you great meanings and readings. However, sometimes, just like us, we lose our memory a little bit. And so I want to help maintain the memory of these cards and into the meetings. So we've got that. I've got a mini tarot deck here because I want to stay in the frame of the camera and they're easier to shuffle. And then I have our friend, the Kipper deck, that we will be using to lay additional foundation. So let's get started. I'm going to put the Kipper out here. I'm going to put the tarot here. I'm going to move this hand of fate, and we're going to get started. Now, here we go. I think you're going to really like this. I did shuffle before we came on camera, but I do like to shuffle because people like to see that, and I don't want anyone thinking that I'm staging any of the cards. Here we go. Cutting this on behalf of the energy. Here we are. We see this card a lot, don't we? We're going to tell the story of Jennifer McCabe. That is Brian Albert, by the way, this one. And this is Jennifer. And wait till you hear about the cards around. I'm going to stop right there for just a minute because now I want to tell you what I'm reading about. If law enforcement came to me, they would tell me a story just like I could read it on the internet, but they're not going to tell me detail. So I want to talk to you about the 607 phone call. Now, just a couple 4 minutes before that, Jennifer McCabe, Carrie Roberts, and Karen Reed, I'm going to say a little, let's back up, 10 minutes before that. They were driving past 34 Fairview Road in Canton, and Karen was sitting in the back. She had her phone with her, and she was calling John. And she saw him laying in the snow, and she dropped her phone in the back seat. No one knew that the phone was still turned on. She didn't click off the call. No one knew that. So the 911 call has been recorded now that Jennifer McCabe made. And that phone call lasted about 4 minutes. You could hear that, maybe less than 4 minutes, but you could hear her sitting in Carrie Roberts' vehicle, her SUV, while the windshield wipers were going. And you could hear Miss Karen screaming, upset, anxiety in the yard, trying to give John CPR, trying to warm him up. Jennifer tells the 911 operator that they turned him over. See, most people don't realize that he was lying originally face down in the snow when they found him. And it was Karen and Carrie that turned John over to give him CPR. The next thing that happened was, now remember, they're sitting outside of Brian and Nicole Albert's home, the sister of Jennifer McCabe and brother-in-law. He is in law enforcement. Others around the house, across the street, law enforcement. You can hear Karen and what she is yelling and screaming come over on the phone that she had in the back seat. That's how loud it was. Why did no one else come outside? The house at 34 Fairview was dark. There were no lights on. Why did this happen? The other thing, when I knew, and I'm going to say this, I was late to the Karen Reed party. I was late to this, and I think that I came in to the trial at about day 10, 11, something like that. And I was blown away. And I knew right away. Because I had heard some things, but it didn't really do a lot of research. And when I know I'm going to read on a trial, I try not to do too much because I don't want my personal opinion or any unbiased opinion come in and overshadow the cards. I knew when I saw Jennifer McCabe that there was something wrong. I knew when I saw Brian Albert and Colin Albert. And I knew when I saw all these other bad actors, Matthew McCabe. But it was Jennifer McCabe that gave me the chills. So the reason I'm saying this is because at 6:07 a.m. on the morning of January 29th, as soon as Jennifer was done with the 911 phone call, she picked up the phone. Now remember, Karen's phone is recording this. Well, it was actually John's phone was recording this because Karen left the phone in the back seat of Carrie Roberts' vehicle. So it was recording everything. At 6:07 a.m., Jennifer made a phone call to Nicole Albert. Nicole Albert did not answer. However, Jennifer left a message that she was whispering in a low voice that said, "Someone is coming out to help," and hangs up the phone. It was a 9-second call. She hangs up the phone and she's taking screenshots of her contact information about Brian Albert. And there's just all kinds of, I think she did one on Brian Higgins as well. So that information right there, I would need without even knowing anything about the case. But my question to you, my friends, why on earth, if you are in law enforcement, are you not coming out of the house and thinking, what in the name of all that's holy is going on in my front yard? And what on earth? But no, the house was dark. Let's get into this reading, my friends. As we're coming along, I'm seeing this, and this is Karen Reed, by the way. I don't know if you just saw that. My light dimmed and flickered, and a lot of times that will happen with my cards, with lighting and everything. If I'm reading for someone who this subject matter is actually about John laying in snow and a 911 phone call and all these other things. Earlier, I saw a deck of my cards that I had stored on end. I looked over across the room, and literally the cards were kind of flipping, just like that. Don't anybody get scared. These things happen. I've been around the block. What this is telling me now is that this was a very frustrating time for many. This is Jen McCabe. This is Karen Roberts. This represents someone that would be in the house, because that's 34 Fairview. And I want you to see this. Do you see this? I know most of you have, because I just love you all. I've got to tell you that. You guys pick up things in my readings and numbers and everything else. Oh my goodness. So am I surprised if you pick that up? No, I'm not. 34. Because we're talking about the house. We're talking about Karen. We're talking about the 911 phone call. We're talking about communication. We're talking about many other things. Now, we're getting down here because we're seeing here that there's some frustration with Karen, and that is coming from Jen McCabe. You see, with playing cards, you don't just read in rows. You read across, you read down, you read this way, you read that way, and it really tells a picture. And that's why I learned playing cards first before I ever learned tarot. And I teach both now. But now what I'm seeing is I want to come down here to Jen, and then we're going to back up a little bit. I've said it before and I've said it again. There was an attraction from Jennifer to John. Sorry, I just feel that way. And I'm also going to say I believe that that's John too. But we'll find out who this is right there. And I think that John did not play into that. I think that's why some of those really nasty voicemails of Karen. Now, come on, we're not going to judge, because, I mean, heck, we've all left some nasty phone messages to people that we were mad at. But these kind of went over the top a little bit. And I do think that Jen and Brian Albert had a thing. And I think maybe They still might, in my opinion, based on what I'm seeing. So I believe that the autumn or the fall of the year is when things started going downhill with Karen. Jennifer McCabe said that she felt a connection with Karen because they both have MS and she was easy to talk to. It was almost as though Jen expected John to bring Karen around to introduce her to get the approval of Jen and the group. I believe that Jen was making some changes. She was making some changes with employment, with maybe a job, maybe things that she had done. She was in a particular time frame that was very upsetting for her because these changes are something that she did not want to make. Starting to be very frustrating. She wanted to make investments and she wanted to be a big shot. It was money that she was after. But for some reason, when she looked at Karen, she knew that her earning capacity was not even near what Karen's would be. And that started the downfall. That changed that relationship with Karen. You've heard me say this before, and I believe the cards that are the closest to this person of Jennifer, and once again, I apologize. This is a little longer than what I had thought. But the cards closest to Jennifer are very significant. This card right here, the Four of Clubs. Centuries ago, they referred to this card as the devil's bedpost. This means that someone gets in bed with the devil. I'll let you interpret that however you want, but it's a metaphorical saying that means that, well, there's a lack of trust. This is a person who feels like they constantly have to be in control. Sound familiar? This is a person who feels that there is lack of compassion for her from the past, doesn't get enough attention, I'm going to say it that way, from males. This is not a good card to have around. This means you can't trust this person. Now, what about this Three of Spades? A definite interference can even mark a love triangle. I do believe that this is John up here, and he is connected with that house. And the reason this Two of Diamonds keeps showing up is because, have you seen any compassion with these people? Have you seen, she did not even go to John's funeral. Now, Karen didn't, and I understand that because she was in a mess at that time. But this one here who says, we loved him. I was in shock and horror over everything that happened. This is your friend, and you don't go to the funeral. It's because there were some other things that were going on at that time and other feelings. This particular card, interference from a third party, she does nothing but interfere. She is, in my opinion, the orchestrator of all information. We're just going to turn her around a little bit. You're going to see that there is some interference on either side of this card. And a lot of it comes from sheer boredom. She's bored. And I don't know what's going on with her employment situation, but it doesn't look like it certainly is now what it was. Because it looks like there was some type of something that she wanted to do, a project, a business, something she wanted to get into with Brian Albert. But you know, this card right here, this 5 of Diamonds, is an expansion card. The way I would read this is that this communication that I'm seeing right here, here, communication about success and money, did you pull it off? That's basically what it says. Did you pull it off? Not yet. They thought they were going to, in my opinion. But this particular card here is expansion. This whole mindset of concocting the story, putting the timelines together, making sure everybody is on the same page, expanded from Brian Albert on. I just want to go a couple of cards here. That is a card that means that she needs to be fulfilled. She needs the kudos. She needs to be the one who wins the trophy, or else. She is a very competitive chick, and she wants to be first. She wants to be, and this 7 of Diamonds is a card that basically says, by gosh, she's so determined to do all that and or else. Colin and my darlings, this 8 of Hearts is a card that indicates a lot of suspicion. Let's grab the tarot. Now, if I were reading for law enforcement, I would say at this point, do you have any questions, sir or madam or officer? Is there something that you would like me to look into in particular? And usually when I ask that question, they say, no, just continue. No, that's fine. Just continue. And that we will. We keep seeing this fellow. That is a Taurus. I don't know if we have a Taurus in the players or not. I think we do. But I'm not sure who it is. I want to point out something with this 2 of Wands that people don't usually look at, because, you know, we focus from about here on up. This person has the world in their hand, and they have made a choice. But the choice is based on this wand. And in this wand, do you see it is fixed? It is bolted to the side of this concrete. I'm going to say, I think he's standing on a castle. So it's on that concrete there with the castle where he's looking out over everything. That means this cannot be moved. He's not going to move this, but he's made a choice of how to go on based on what he can do, not on what he can't do. That is Jennifer, in my opinion. The Wheel of Fortune near these not so good cards can be a dark card. And you see this fellow right here, his little nickname is a collector of souls. Now, this collector of souls means that everything comes full circle. That these 4 are elements, are divine elements, and they oversee. And they make sure that, well, if you've got something going, then it's going to come around. You know the old saying, what comes around goes around. I'm not wishing harm on anyone. Don't think that. and I'm not a negative reader, but I am going to tell you what the cards mean. This Queen of Swords, this is also Jen. This is an air sign. And you see, she's got a sword up here, but she also has her hand out in negotiating. Well, what do you think she would be negotiating? Could it be some type of deal if she tells the truth? I'm not sure they would give her one. This is the Prince of Wind and Breezes. He's got a lot of movement, and you see that sword goes off the frame of the card, and he's standing there kind of looking over his shoulder saying, I'm ready. You want to come at me? I'm ready. I'm not done yet. We're not done yet. That's what this means. We're not done yet. You're going to see more, and you're going to see more from Jennifer because she's being watched. This Hierophant card, also the tarot, I'm sorry, yes, it's a tarot card, yes. It's a Taurus. But this means that there is a divine element, that there's no black and white. I'm sorry, there's no gray, there's only black and white. This is the companion of the High Priestess in the tarot. And with this being no black and white, there's no gray area, which tells me that Jennifer has been nothing but giving us gray areas, and especially in her testimony. Why would you? And when I laid down that card, the first person I thought of was Higgins. It could be this voided here. But why would you leave a message to your sister? Someone is coming out to help. What? All suspicious. One more deck, my friends. One more deck. So the law enforcement is sitting in front of me, and you see these cards. They flew out of the deck, and my darlings, look what they are. And when they fly out like that, it means that there's an energy reading. And let me see if I can get this to focus without jumping. There we are. Pardon me, I moved the camera again. Bad girl, Zelda. All right. Official person, that's law enforcement. And I was just talking about law enforcement is thinking, having thoughts over, I like to call her, in my opinion, Little Miss can't do wrong. So if law enforcement is sitting in front of me, and I'm saying once again, do you have anything specifically you'd like to have me look into? They most likely would say, no, keep going. Let's see what's coming up. This family room comes up all the time for this, and there are other rooms in this deck, but something transpired in that family room. Maybe it was an interview with Proctor. It could be anything, but that is significant. We're going to keep going. Unexpected income, and you know how I treat that. Distant or horizon, and toil and labor. Let's look at these two cards first. Unexpected income and distant horizon. It's going to be a little wet yet. A little while yet before we hear too much of what is going on with Jen. See, they're working on things behind the scenes, and that's what happens. But I do believe that we are going to have some unexpected income of news, unexpected documents, unexpected, maybe even call logs, maybe even logs from an Apple Health Watch. It could be anything like that, I believe. Keep watching, my darlings. There's more coming. Just like this little fellow right here, the Prince of Wind and Breezes, tells us there's more to come. It ain't over. This last card, toil and labor. It has been very hard for Jennifer, in my opinion, to continue this charade, to continue orchestrating everything, getting everything, stories straight, this, that. It is extremely hard to continue and to keep that up. Oh, what a tangled web we weave. This does not turn out very well. This is from Blood, Sweat, and Tears. And no, not the band. This is from working hard to making sure something goes right and you still don't know if it will. And it is hard labor. It is hard. So now we've come to the end. And what usually I do is I take one more card deck. Piotnik, 36 cards, 6 different languages. And I say, we need a final message. In fact, I don't want to do this. I want to do this one. Sorry. Tarot. Final message. We need a final message, please. A final message. Spirits, guides, angels, let us know if there's something more that we need to know. Drum roll, please. Oh, oh my. That's Karen Reed. She is the Pisces. She's the moon card. My darlings, I can't make this stuff up. You see it unfold right in front of us. I do want to get one more companion card. What message do you have for us? For Karen. From Karen, for Karen, about Karen. What message do we have? And that is this. I'm going to tell you what this means. This means to remember to recall memories, facts, the past. There's going to be more coming to her in which she's going to be asked, do you remember this? Or do you remember that? Or do you remember this person walking away? You see very faintly on the side there. Do you remember that there may be somebody that is two-faced that you're working with, or that you acknowledge that you know right here? Can't make this stuff up. Okay. So now the reading ends. Law enforcement is here, and they say, is there anything more that you would like to share? And I'll say, no. No. If there's anything more you would like for me to share about this reading. And many times they'll ask me my opinion. They'll say, well, what do you think about this person? What do you think is going on? So if they asked me that in this particular reading, I would say, sir, ma'am, officer, sheriff, whatever, I would say, I think this person really needs to be looked into a lot more, because there's a lot more going on behind the scenes. And you need to dig a little deeper, because there's going to be more information come out, and there's going to be more recollection of conversations, phone calls, and so on and so on. She's not been accused of any crime as of yet, so I can't say she's guilty or not guilty. But what I can say is she has a very strong foothold in this particular situation. So what was it about this whole trial, of everything that was said, It was that particular moment at 6:07 a.m. when the 911 call ended. She calls her sister for 9 seconds and says, "Someone is coming out to help." And made me start really raising an eyebrow. I was also going to say this. Do you remember there was a text message from Brian Higgins? Higgy baby. Somebody told me that in the comments. I think that's hilarious. Brian Higgins, Higgy baby is Santa baby. I won't forget that one. Do you remember that text where he was trying to either talk to her that's later on that day or the next day? And she wrote to him one thing: John is dead. Now, for people to think that that's odd, I don't think it's odd. Why? In my opinion, that tells me she knew that he was involved. In my opinion, you always return to the scene of the crime to find out who knows what, where, and when. And I think some of those phone calls to Karen and text were to find out exactly what she was thinking happened, or if she knew anything. Now, that's my opinion only. But, you know, this is all orchestrated by somebody that wants to find out. So with this being said, my darlings, I hope you enjoyed this reading. I surely enjoy doing it for you. Stay tuned. I have so much more content I want to bring to you. Let me know in the comments what you think or feel about this reading, if there's something more you'd like me to read on. And in the meantime, do me a favor and stick around, because there is another video YouTube thinks that you would really enjoy, and I feel the same way. But in the meantime, just know, this is just my opinion. It's not fact, cannot be used in the court of law, and I want to know how you think about it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again very soon. Bye for now.